All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to see you guys today. My name is Glenn Dumas. Just call me Coach D. I'm here today just to tell you a little bit about myself, what I do, how I got to be doing what I do, and maybe I can encourage you guys in some type of way before your day is out. A little background information. I'm a retired high school business teacher. I taught at Rancho Verde High School for 25 years, and I also coached boys and girls basketball and boys and girls golf. Currently, I am a careers consultant, and so my job is to talk to young adults, help them find out who they are. Then we find careers that match who they are, and then we put them on that pathway, and then we teach them how to handle their money while they're going down that pathway. So now they're not really working, they're just doing who they are with pay. And then I'm also a professional singer. I sing the national anthems at the Lakers, Clippers, Angels, Dodgers, Raiders, Golden State Warriors, a lot of professional teams. I also do weddings, I do conventions, and gospel, just wherever I can do my thing. My youth. I was born in Savannah, Georgia. That's not me. Moved to Spokane, Washington when I was 9 months old. My dad, that is my dad, who served in the United States Air Force. And then my mom, that's my mom. She was a third grade elementary school teacher for 45 years. This is one of her former students, who I guess is an actor. As a kid, I was pretty good in school, kind of like school. Loved sports. Just love sports, and believe it or not, I actually love helping people. I knew that as a kid. I hated bullies. Always stood up to bullies. For some reason, something about money, I just loved to have it in my hands. I totally loved to sing, except I was really, really shy and never sang in front of my friends. And I had a serious challenge. I had a major stuttering problem as a kid too, and I got teased and bullied like forever on that. So how do you figure out what to do with your life? I wanted to be an NBA player. I practiced every single day. I was getting scholarship offers. I just was focused on doing that. Instead of taking upper level math classes, I took an accounting class in high school, which accounting class teaches you how to keep track of your money. So I was going to go in the NBA, keep track of all my money, and I also wanted to help other businesses and figure out how they kept track of their money. And so that's kind of what I did. And then as far as singing is concerned, I love singing in church, but if the choir screwed up or if I screwed up, I would just be a mess because I just felt like if I'm going to sing, man, it's got to be like right. And so that was kind of how I was. In high school, I was playing basketball my senior year. I got hurt. Hurt my neck. It's almost paralyzed. Doctor came in and said, "Hey brother, I know you want to be in the NBA, but your basketball playing days are over." And so I had neck surgery. I spent my senior year walking around with a neck brace on. And in addition to that, I lost my voice. So although I can talk, the singing that I used to do, that I loved to do, that I would never share with other people, I lost it. And so that's kind of how it started. College experience or experiences that prepared me for my current profession. Well, because I was going through my situation, I needed to get away from home. And so I had pretty good grades, so I went to a college called Bethune-Cookman University in Daytona Beach, Florida, and I majored in accounting. I left for Florida the day after I graduated from high school, and I just stayed the summer in Florida with my grandparents. In college, I loved the experience of attending an all-black school, and it was totally different from growing up in an all-white city. The experience made me even prouder to be black. I learned a lot about the struggles that blacks had to go through just to get an education. And since my voice was gone, I decided to try out for the choir in college to see if I can get my voice back. I graduated in 4 years with a degree in accounting and a minor in music, and I got my voice back. I graduated with a 3.5 GPA, and although I had offers to work in Florida, I decided to go back home to Spokane, Washington to become an accountant. What I didn't know about having a degree is that it doesn't mean jack in the real world unless you have some experience to go behind it. And so we're looking for 2 years experience, and it's like, how do you get experience when no one's gonna give you a chance? And so I kind of started second guessing my decision to move back home. And so since I couldn't get an accounting job, I decided to grind like I did as a kid. And so I got 3 jobs. My first job was an insurance agent. I began working for a financial advisory firm. I sold life insurance, health insurance, property casualty insurance. I learned a lot about how to swindle customers and how to get over on people, which I hated, but I learned it. I learned a lot about insurance, car insurance, homeowners insurance, life insurance, but I also learned a lot about how to make your money grow, like through stocks and bonds, investments in real estate. My second job was as a crowd management security guard, where I was able to work at different sporting events, rock concerts, all the civic events, any new groups coming into town, all the major artists that came into town. I got a chance to work there, and it was a great experience. And then my third job was as a wedding singer, national anthem singer, and then me and my brother and sister also had a gospel group. And so, yeah, I decided to not take my voice for granted and start singing. I later quit my first job. I got tired of trying to swindle people that were my family and friends. I didn't like how they were doing it. And so I got a job at a bank. I got a job at a bank working as a mailroom clerk, sorting mail. And I was kind of frustrated because that was a job that a high school kid could have gotten. Here I am with an accounting degree and I'm working sorting mail. And so I could have complained about it. I could have, been pouty about it. But what I decided to do was find out how banking worked. And so whenever I would stop by a different branch and talk to somebody and pick up supplies, I made a point to stop and talk to the manager and just pick his brain and find out how they're doing and find out how they do stuff. And what I found is that 1, I was just as smart as they were. And 2, if you ask people questions, they'll tell you the answers. Working in crowd management as security guard, it kind of taught me how to interact with people that had different interests. I also learned how to respect myself and not allow people or words to trigger me. You guys ever have somebody say something to you, it triggers you, and now you're ready to, all right, well, I learned that these buttons are mine. I allow people to activate my buttons. And so this job allowed me to learn how to not let people activate my buttons and that they're my buttons. I control those. One thing I did learn when I came back to Spokane is why I came back to Spokane, and that was to find my bride. I got married in 1988. I was up for a promotion from my first accounting job when my wife joined the Air Force, and we moved here to California. So I got a job at a credit union as a payroll processor, and I didn't even know what a credit union was. You know what a credit union is? Yeah. And so once I learned what a credit union was, which is just like a bank, it's just owned by us, whereas a bank is owned by a few investors. Once I started working in the credit union, I moved up the ranks really quick. They saw my potential to generate money, and so they promoted me to loan officer, and then they promoted me to vice president, and I had my own branch. I loved my job. I got to help people achieve their financial dreams. I also learned how to help struggling families, teaching them how to manage their money and teaching them financial literacy. Although I loved my job, I had to work on Saturdays, and I was missing out on family time. And I kind of remember my dad not being around as a kid. When he was in the Air Force, he would come into town for 30 days, he'd leave for a year, come in town for 30 days, leave for a year. And so it was like Santa Claus was coming into town. I really never got to know my dad, and I didn't want to do that to my kids, but I didn't know what to do about it. So how did I become a teacher? Well, one of my employees, she was a bank teller. Her husband was a teacher and a football coach, a high school coach. He'd come into the branch to take her to lunch. He'd pop into my office and say, "Hey, Dumas, You ever thought about being a teacher, man? We're desperate for teachers, bro. You'd be a great teacher. And I'd like, nah, brother, I'm good, man. I don't want to do that, man. I'm good. But he would always put that seed in my ear, you know? And then not long after that, I saw a movie starring Michelle Pfeiffer called Dangerous Minds, where she played a retired Marine who went into teaching and teaching inner city kids. And after I walked out of that movie, I remember saying to myself, I know I can help one kid. I know I can help at least one kid. And so the next week I went to Chapman University just to see what it would take to become a teacher. So I go to the meeting. They said it would take 18 months. I don't remember the price, but I do remember saying to myself, I don't want to go back to school and I don't want to spend no money on it. So I'm about to leave and the president of the college walks in and says, hey everybody, before you go, these schools are having job interviews right now. They're looking for teachers. And so in my mind, I'm like, you know what? I wonder what the difference is between like a banking interview and a teaching interview. It's got to be different. Let's find out. It's Thursday morning. I go into a middle school, get job interview for the job. They call me that afternoon. They offer me the job on a Thursday. They want me to start on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And I hadn't been in a 7th grade class since 7th grade. And so I was gonna turn the job down because I really didn't want the job. I was just checking it out. So I called my mom, who taught 3rd grade for 44 years, and she said, hey baby, tomorrow's Friday. Take the day off, go down to the school and see what it's like. I take Friday off. I walk into the classroom. I open the door. A rubber band, boom, flashes right across my face as soon as I walk in the door, and the kids are doing that. 7th graders all over the classroom just running around. The teacher's sitting there with her feet up there watching. So I go over to her and she says, they've had 5 substitutes in a month. Today's my last day. I'm going to Australia in the morning. So I don't care what they do. So when I got home that night, I called my mom. I said, Mom, those kids are crazy. I ain't really trying to do this. And she said, baby, how would you feel if you had 5 subs in a month? You feel like nobody cares about you either. I said, all they need is love, and they don't feel like nobody loves them. And so those words touched me. I still didn't want to do it, but it touched me. So I called the president of the credit union and said, hey man, they want me to start on Monday, and I know in the real world you take a 2 weeks notice. You got to take 2 weeks to train the new person before you go. So I knew I didn't have to teach because he's not going to give me 2 weeks. He's going to make me work 2 weeks. He says, no, Dumas, you don't owe us 2 weeks. You've done a great job here at the credit union. Go out there and help those kids. And so everything was just kind of happening for me. I wasn't even trying. It was like I was being placed in this position. And so I started that Monday, 7th grade. I went to the high school after a year, and I taught up at the Rancho Verde High School for the next 23 years, and I loved every minute of it. How did I become a professional singer? My singing career was going great up in Spokane, Washington. I was singing at churches, weddings, the national anthem, sporting events. But then I moved to California, and I auditioned for the Lakers, the Clippers, the Dodgers, the Raiders, all these teams. No, you ain't good enough. It's too soulful, not soulful enough. We don't need you. We're good. We got stars. You're not a star. I mean, they gave me every excuse in the book. So one day, I'm driving through San Diego, listening to the radio, and I hear the announcer say, hey, they're having the national anthem contest, and the winner gets to sing the anthem for the Chargers-Raiders game. I said, man, I'm doing this. So I drove down to San Diego the next week. I won the competition. I sang at the game. There was a fan in the stands who heard me sing from Beaumont. he called me the next week and said, hey, I heard you sing the anthem, and we have a celebrity basketball game here in Beaumont. We're gonna have celebrity actors and actresses and ex-athletes gonna come and sing. I come and sing. There's a guy there that works for the Angels, used to play for the Angels. He says, hey man, we're gonna hook you up with the Angels. So I get an Angels gig. The Angels called the Dodgers. The Dodgers called the Lakers. The Lakers called the Clippers. And before you know it, all those no's that I was hearing here, I kept telling myself, I know I can sing. I know. Those no's all turned into, oh yeah. So that's how I became a professional singer. What do you love about your jobs? Well, what I love about my career as a profession is I love helping students find career paths that match up with their natural gifts. Something that all students need, something I never received as a kid, and I had to figure it out the hard way. I love motivating and being motivated by students. Even though they all face difficult challenges, they keep coming to my class ready to learn. They're like my little heroes. I love bringing the real world into the classroom so students can learn what their career options are and where they can actually meet people that are working in the real world. I love teaching things like the professional handshake, job interview skills, soft skills, financial literacy, life skills, and career research. I love seeing my students in the real world with happy families, great careers, and traveling the world. As a matter of fact, this young man right here, one of my students in high school, he was very angry. Very angry guy, but he was one of the best crumpers in school. Crumper is this angry dance that kids would do. Well, he was good because he was angry. And so I would chop it up with him, try to talk him through some of his challenges. And now I look at him now, he works for Wells Fargo Bank. He's married, got a couple kids, beautiful home in Arizona. He's managing his anger. He's doing well. And so when I see my students going off and being great fathers and just being great people and great citizens, it makes me really proud. As a singer, I know how much music helps me. So it feels really good to help others to forget about their challenges for a little while and just relax and hear songs that are sung from their heart and they have a positive message and vibe. I'm not a performer, but more like a vocal stylist. I like to touch your heart. I love leading the audience in songs and singing along with them. It feels better and it's just more fun. What are some of my struggles? Well, I sometimes struggle with the fact that education seems to focus so much on everyone going to college, when in fact most kids don't go to college. And many of the ones that do go, they don't know who they are, so they either drop out, graduate without knowing their true calling, and not to mention the high student loan debts. I think that every kid needs to know what their gifts, aptitudes, characteristics, likes and dislikes are, and then let's show them the types of careers that match those characteristics. Then let's create some real life, hands-on learning of the types of careers that are in their pathway, while giving them the financial literacy skills that everyone needs regardless of their career path. I also struggle with not being able to reach every student. I was this guy right here. I can reach 200 students and they're all just doing great, but there'll be that one kid that I'm just having a hard time trying to reach, trying to get them to come around, trying to get them to see the light. And so sometimes I find myself tossing and turning, trying to find strategies to reach that one kid. And I hated that. It's a struggle, but that's just kind of how I am. I don't want any kids falling through the cracks. And so I wish I wasn't that, but then again, I guess that makes me who I am. Singing, I don't really have any struggles with that, except that I want to share a positive message through song, and I want to touch the hearts of all humanity, and I just haven't done that yet. What's it like balancing professional and home life? For me, it was pretty smooth. I was able to separate the two. When I'm on the way to work with students like you, in my mind, I would take off my husband, daddy hat and put on my Coach D hat as I'm driving to work, because I know that I'm going to be dealing with students that are going through stuff and they need all of me. And so I would make sure that I was prepared for my students when I was at work, but on the way home, I wasn't thinking about my students. I put on my daddy, husband, me hat to focus totally on my family. And the bag is not hard to get. You just have to know what to do when you get it. And when I was a kid, because I loved my money, I loved putting my money away. And so when I started working, I would save at least 10 to 20% of my paycheck. That means if I get $100, I earned that $100. I'm not gonna pay my bills first. I'm gonna pay Coach D first. So that $100, I'm gonna give myself maybe 20. Then $50 of it, pay my bills. $30 of it, miscellaneous stuff. But that $20 started to snowball. And then as you get older, it starts to compound, which means like double and triple. So by the time you're my age, ready to retire, that little 20% you've been socking away has snowballed, and now you're sitting pretty. And so now we have these investments. We have a mutual fund. Me and the wife have our retirement, and then me and the wife have our retirement income that we get to pay our bills. We keep our bills low, means more money in our pocket, which means we can travel more. And so making money is not hard to do, it's managing the money. And so I'm here to encourage you that when you guys start making your money, pay yourself first, and then watch what happens. Watch your money grow. For more information, contact Coach D at CoachDWins@yahoo.com or by phone at 951-333-1702.